Good night, everyone. Doing tonight. God is good and God is good all the time. My name is Erwin J. of Spirit Divine. I'm here to give you a word on tonight. Now, we're going to talk about Daniel. Daniel and the lion's den. You're going to come from Daniel chapter 6, 1 through 28. Now, it pleased the king to appoint 120 subscribers to rule throughout the kingdom. Now, you know Daniel, I put out the other day, Daniel was in training. That's why I put that one out first. He was in training. So God had touched his heart to favor Daniel. So now he qualified and he gonna have the position over certain people. Now Daniel was 80 years old and one of the king's top three administration. Now Daniel was working with those who did not believe in God. They didn't believe in God. They're gonna come against his faith because they don't believe in God. And the king see that he a spiritual person. But with these three administration over them, one of whom was Daniel. So the subscriber was made accountable to them so that the king might not suffer loss. So a lot of time, the king gonna have people working around him. So he won't feel suffering and pain. So nobody can come close to the king. They got to go through certain people. Now Daniel had worked more efficiently than all the rest. Now he was attracted the attention of the king and earned a place of respect. And so he worked it, professional. He always being to himself, and so now Daniel so disinterested on how himself among the ministry and so struck by his exception quality, that the king was planning to set him over the whole kingdom. So they're really gonna be mad. They're gonna be mad with that. Now the Redeemer Daniel, remember Daniel had training. So why the king know that he is, was qualified, for the position. Daniel had an excellent spirit. Now it can also refer to the influence of the Holy Spirit, in his life. Now he was a man of God. King took a notice of Daniel. Now he took a notice of Daniel. He was quiet. He was being himself. He do his job. He took his job serious. He was being professional. So at this time, the administration in the South tried to find grounds for charge against Daniel. So in the conduct of government affairs, but they were unable to do so. Now they was trying, he minding his business, doing his job, and then they want to try to find something on him because he looked too perfect. His conduct is good. They just were trying to find something. And they could find nothing corruption, in him because he was trustworthy and neither corrupted, or neither evil. Now Daniel had made enemies at work just by doing a good job. Mind has been doing his job, and they want to try to find something on him from just doing his job and minding his business. Now, they look for ways to hold him back, that tear him down, and finding charges against him. So the king had made lose favor in him. Now he is a man of God with good spirit, and they could not find nothing on him. And see, the king have favor on him. The king have favor on him, and they ain't gonna like that. So finally, these men had said, we will never find, nothing on him. They're not. We can't find charges on him. Against this man Daniel, unless it has something to do with his law of his faith. Now they can't find nothing, but they want to find something on his faith. They don't know his God, and they don't believe in his God. The jealous official could find nothing about Daniel's life to criticize. So when they can't find nothing, they're gonna make something up and make it look so real. So they'll attract his faith, they'll attack his faith, and they know he is spiritual. So they will watch him more closely. See, he's different. Everybody say I'm different. When you be yourself, They wants to find out about you. So they say they gotta watch closely, to him because they realize, your possession something different. He followed God, and he will always be different. When you follow God, most of us, be different. So these administration and the South Tribe had went as a group now to the king and said, may the king live forever. Now, these people, they're in groups. That's how they do. They're going to go in groups, trying to find something on Daniel. The man that just minding his business, doing his job, being serious with it, just doing his job. And they say that's a problem. They feel like that's a problem. He can't be perfect. We can't find nothing on him. That should be something. And they go in groups. They're gonna come up with a rule and take it to the king. And so they appear in groups and they falsely told the king their plan. Falsely came up with a plan to tell the king. And when the king agreed to this, he don't know it's Daniel. Because see, he got favor with Daniel. He would have never signed nothing. So the royalty administration, with fact, Substrat, advised and governor have all agreed that the king should issue elect and enforce the decree that anyone who pray to any god or human being during the next 30 days, except to you, should be thrown in a fire. Should be thrown in a lion's den. Now he ain't do nothing wrong. They couldn't find nothing for no charges or anything. So they gonna attack his faith. They know he's a spiritual man. He's a man of God. He trusts God. He got faith in God. He prayed 3 times a day. They couldn't find nothing, but they about to attack his faith. And so the key word was the law. Whoever, when a law was made, even the king couldn't change it. Now he gonna sign something. He not gonna even ask who this for. He just gonna sign it. And they said once he signed it, he cannot change it. He cannot reverse it. He cannot delay it. He cannot change it. Because he gonna try to do all that when he find out it's Joseph. He gonna find out it's Daniel. So he couldn't change it. Now these group men brought their plan to king, but did not tell him it was Daniel. They falsely, that's how they do. Falsely claim and they'll make up their own plan. And then they go in groups and go to the king. And go to the king and come up with this plan. And the king not once asks, who it is. He just go sign. So now this issue of degree and put it in writing. So they had to put them in writing, so it cannot be altered in accordance to with the law, which cannot be paired. So once he signed it, put it in writing, it cannot be changed. So the law was in writing, so the king could not change it. Now these men talk to the king, into signing a law officially making himself a god for 30 days. Now 30 days, they cannot pray. But we know Daniel prayed 3 times a day. So we gonna see. He loved God. And he not gonna let nobody tell him to stop praying. So the king put a degree in writing. So now when Daniel learned that the degree had been published, now he went home to his upstairs room. Now he heard. Now he ignored it. He said, I'm going up to my house, my apartment, and I'm going to drop down on my knees and I'm going to pray like I've been doing. And so he went upstairs to the room where the window was open towards Jerusalem. And he prayed 3 times. 3 times. And his window was open. And they was following. they was going to monitor him and see, because they know he loves to pray. He loved to talk to God. So they see what it is. The devil will try to find something is your weak moment. Now, see, that's his weak moment, because he loved God. He loves to pray. They always going to find something that you weak in. And so that's what they did. He wasn't going to let nobody stop him from praying to God. The day he got down on his knees, he prayed, giving thanks to his God, just as he had done before. So all those things you had knew about the law against praying to anyone except the king, Daniel made no attempt to hide, his daily prayer routine, from his enemy in the government. So Daniel knew about the new law. He wasn't going to hide his daily prayer life at all. And so then these men had went as a group, to find Daniel praying and asking, for God's help. Now, these people still in groups, stalking Daniel. Following him around. I know how that can be. Following you around, be all on your back. Everything you do, somebody right there. But these people in groups, they can hear everything Daniel was saying to God. Talking about, he said he need help. So Daniel window was open, like it's always is. So they peeping and they watching him praying. So we see that Daniel is loyalty to God, and they trick they tricked the king into passing the law banning prayer. They're banning prayer. And so, and no, that wasn't gonna work with Daniel. Daniel know about the law, but he chose to obey God rather than man. And see, that's what God wants us to do. God wants us to obey Him, not man. And so he said, I heard about that new law. I heard that they published, and I heard that they put it in writing. But I'd rather obey my God than man. So that's what his decision. So they went to the king and spoke to him about his royalty degree. Did you not publish, a degree that during the next 30 days, so that was hard for Daniel. I know I pray every day, twice a day, morning and before I get in bed. For someone to tell you don't pray for 30 days, Daniel did it for 30, 3 times a day. He could not do that. When you used to talking to God, ain't no way you gonna stop for 30 days. So anyone who pray to any God or human being except for the king, you will be thrown into a lion's den. So the king answered, the degree stand in accordance with the law of the which cannot be repaired. And so he still asks who it for. So now they still not say it's Daniel. The law pray, is illegal, and the punishment is being fed to the lions. So he still don't know it's Daniel now. They know he loved Daniel. He got favor with Daniel. So then they had said to the king Daniel, who is one of these all from Judah? Now pray, and no attention. He paid no attention. He paid no attention, to you. And the degree that you put in writing, he still prayed 3 times a day. Daniel was not trying to hear that. I know about y'all law. I know about the 30 days. I know about not praying. He wasn't trying to hear that. He went upstairs and he prayed anyway, because they're not going to stop him with his daily prayer. And so they finally informed the king is Daniel, who violated the new law, and the king is upset. Now he favored Daniel. So when the king had heard about this, he was greatly distressed. Now he was determined to rescue Daniel and make every effort to until sundown to save him. Because if he know that was Daniel, he would have never signed. But he still should have asked, well, okay, who this for? Who this supposed to be for? He should have asked that question before he signed. But he signed it, and now he know. Daniel's sentence cannot be delayed. It must be carried out that same day. The king was determined to help Daniel by trying to delay. So then the men had went as a group, to the king and said to him, remember, according to the law, no degree, no elect, that the king issue can be changed. So they know the king loved Daniel. And now they just not told him it's Daniel. So they're trying to let him know you signed something that you cannot change. So jealousy had tricked king by passing an unchangeable law secret. That's what they did secret. When it grew, meant to target Daniel. Now, when the king realized what had happened, but it could not be changed, cannot be changed. So the king had given order, and they brought Daniel to the to throw him into the lion. Now, who is you to say continue to rescue you? So they captured the lion and keep them in a large park where they was fed and attended. Now lions were also used for execution. Not people now, but God has ways to deliver, his people that we can now imagine. Now sometimes God come right on hand, or sometimes he send his angels. So the stone was brought into place over the mouth in a den, and the king sealed it, with his own solid ring and with the ring of his nobles, so that Daniel's situation might not be changed. So they did it for the king. They took that big rock and put it in front of it to make sure he don't get Daniel out there and change his mind. So sealing the both by the king appear of fear, attempting to rescue Daniel. Now they know he was gonna try to rescue Daniel. That's why they put that big stone in front of it. And then the king had returned to his palace, and spent the night without eating and without entertainment. Now being brought to him, and he could not sleep. He could not sleep. When he finally found out that it's Daniel, somebody that he cared for, somebody that he respect because they know he's a man of God. He said he have a good spirit. And when he found out that, he couldn't sleep. He woke up in the middle of the night to come out there to see if Daniel was okay, or to see if his God gonna rescue him. So the king could not sleep. Went to the palace where there's no dancing. Ladies, all he know that he signed this foolish law. Now he called the law is foolish now. All I know, I signed this foolish law, led someone who he respect and about to be on death. He's not he feel a type of way. Cause this man here about to become dead, right? He's dead or whatever the case is. Now he feel bad because he the one signed that law for him to be thrown in there. So at first, the light of dawn, the king got up and hurried to the lion's den. So the king went in person because he was gonna send his servant, but he changed his mind. He went in person to check on Daniel, and this showed a great love and respect for Daniel. Now he was concerned doing that he is a good man. Now he know Daniel is a good man. Daniel had no business in that lion's den. He was doing his work, being serious, and took his work for not for granted. He was being professional. And then he called, and they called him praying. But that's still not no wrongdoing. So when he came near the den, he called out, to Daniel in a golden verse. Daniel had servant of the served the living God. Now ask your God as your God whom you serve continue being able to rescue you from the lion's den. So the only way Daniel would be saved is by God. Now he knows Daniel have trust in God. The king hope Daniel is alive. Because he know that Daniel love God. Daniel praise God. Daniel pray to God. This king feels so bad. So he was like, Lord, I hope you save Daniel. I hope you rescue Daniel. And so Daniel answered, may the king live forever. Because he felt bad. He felt guilty. That he wrote this order up. Got him placed in there. So he felt bad. And so Daniel had said, live forever. He know he trying to sort this out. Live forever. And so Daniel know the fear of a type of way, that he once placed the order. He know that he feel a type of way. So that's why he said live forever. My God sent his angel. We don't know how God gonna rescue us. When we pray, we pray and not knowing how God gonna answer our prayers, not knowing how he gonna show up, And so he sent his angel. He shut the mouth of the lion, and they have not heard him because I was found innocent. In his sight, nor have I ever done anything wrong to the king. So God sent the angel, shut that lion's mouth up. He wasn't able to harm Daniel at all. And so Daniel had trusted God where he sent his angel because he was innocent before God. And had done nothing to harm the king. God delivered Daniel. God delivered Daniel. Because God know he was innocent. Now the king was overjoyed and give an order to lift Daniel, out of that den. Now he went, and Daniel was lifted, from the den with no wound. He come out of that den, no cuss, no wound, nothing found on him, no T-Mo, no nothing, because he had trust in God. He had trust in God. He didn't care if he ignored that order. He went up there. Long as you could obey God's command, he will save you out of lion's den. He was a faithful servant. Anytime you faithful and somebody notice that you got the Spirit of God on you. And so he trusts in God. And he went home and prayed, but he had so much trust in God. I know my father gonna get me out of this. I didn't do nothing wrong, but I know my father gonna get me out of this. And so Daniel believed that God had mercy on him because he done no harm. And that's something a lot of time, us innocent people. That's just like Joseph. Joseph was innocent. He didn't harm that girl, but he had served time. He served so much time up in there for something he did not do. And it's like Daniel. Daniel ain't done nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. But he get thrown in the lion's den. True violated king law, but no wrongdoing. Now Daniel had trust God, and Daniel came out of the lion's den with no wound, no cuss, no mouth, no nothing. They were able to find on his body. So at the king's command, the men to falsely accuse Daniel were brought in and thrown into the lion's den. Now they're going to throw a falsely accused Daniel and just wanted him thrown in that lion's den, being evil. But the kings throw these men up in there, along with their wife, along with their children. It don't pass to be evil. They planning to put Daniel in a den off a false accusation, and then they made trick and made the king sign something without letting the king know who it was. And so the king got mad because they tricked him, to manipulate him, to sign something, so he called them men up in there and throw them up in the den. And not only just throw them in the lion's den, throw the wife in the den, throw the children in the den, and the lion overpowered them, before they could put their foot on the ground, they crushed, and all their bones were crushed. Now this cruel punishment was transferred to those who had conspired against the king. They made a fool out of him and he was a king. They came up with this story, not telling him it was Daniel, and just trick him to assigning it. And so provoking him, into the cruel punishment was transferred, and those who had conspired against the king by provoking him into an unjust action. The king with great anger result in the execution of the evil, in their family. And sometime, it'll back on your evil deed will backfire on you. Because it will catch up with you. False accusation to put somebody in a lion's den. If he wasn't a man of God, that lion's den would have ate him up into pieces. Good thing he was a man of God that always praying. So, and then the king had wrote to all the nation and the people, to every language and all the earth, may you prosper greatly. So this is a people that didn't believe in his God. Now they believe. They believe that somebody can go in a lion's den and come out without no wound. Nobody but God saved Daniel in the lion's den. And they believed him before, they believe him now. And so he telling everybody, fear this man. Fear Daniel God. Anytime he went up in that den, that lion den with them big old teeth, and come out, had no teeth more, had been home at all. And so they fear God now. When they didn't want to believe. They didn't want to believe at first. But I issue a decree, that in every part of my kingdom, people must fear. Now, he telling everybody in his kingdom about this God. He telling them about this God. That God that saved Daniel. That saved Daniel the lion den. Because it's God. Because when the other people went in his lion den, this lion tore them up. Tore their bones up. The bones just crushed. But it happened with Daniel. So that's what they say. That nobody but God saved Daniel. When he came out that lion's den, they had these three men going there, their wife and their children, and the lion ate them up to pieces. That's why it was nobody but God that saved Daniel. And with reference of God of Daniel, for he is a living God, and he endure forever. And his kingdom would not be destroyed. His dimension would never end. And so now the king know that Daniel have a good spirit. He been saying that when he was in training. He kept saying Daniel have a good spirit. Know that he is a man of God, and he prayed to his God, and they all didn't believe in his God until he was a survivor out of that lion mouth. They all believe now. Even the king telling everybody, fear this God. Because this God saved Daniel in that lion's den. And the other people went in behind him. The lion tore them up. But God said, save Daniel. The king not believed in Daniel God. Because they didn't believe. Remember early on I said, Daniel working with some people that don't even believe in God. And so telling the people of fear of God, to rescue, and he saved. Now he performed signs and wonder in heaven and on earth, that he had rescued Daniel, from the power of the lion. The king had come to believe that Israel, God was truly powerful. So now they know how powerful he is. And so he, because of his faithfulness of Daniel, and his friends, so now Daniel prospered, during the reign of his king, in the reign of Cyprus. Now see, you see, he come out, saved, and at the end, he prospered, blessing, overflowing, and because they didn't believe in him, but God got the glory. God got the glory. So that's the story. And Satan gonna always try to delay or come against God righteous people. They don't like for you to read the Bible. They don't like for you to pray. If they don't find nothing on you, they'll find something about your faith, something that you do with God every day. They're gonna try to find out your weak point. Daniel weak point was loving God, praising God, praying with God. He loved doing that 3 times a day. So that's all I have for you today. Always be a power of praying. This power in praying, and especially when you pray on a regular basis. You will get God attention. He remembered Daniel, and he saved and rescued Daniel. So that's all I have for you today. Y'all have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next video.